Hey, hey, everybody. You know what time it is? It is Mule and Donkey time with Steve Edwards. And I'm here too. I'm asking the questions that y'all are bringing. My name is Dave. And like I said, this is Steve Edwards. Every week we get together on Wednesdays to talk about mules and donkeys because there really is not a whole lot better that you can do in this life than talk about them mules and donkeys because they just know how to live. They just do what they do and they enjoy it. And we're going to talk about it. Steve, how have you been since last week?
Well, I've been staying out of the heat as much as I can. I tell you, it's been hot.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
yeah, 135 on the ground. I was just looking. That's ground level, but it's only 102 out. As far as the regular temperature goes. Ha ha.
Now, ordinarily, if folks wanted to come hang out with you, they would have to come out to that 100 and what'd you say on the ground? 100 and what?
135 on the ground.
135 degrees on the ground if you want to come and hang out with Steve Edwards. But that's not the case coming up this
No,
September, Steve, is it?
no, we're going to be a whole lot cooler than that up in Montana. Yes, sirree. Going to be quite pleasant.
It's going to be a lot of fun. If you'd like to come out and hang out with Steve this September, Montana is calling your name. Let's be honest, Montana's been calling your name for years, and you just haven't answered the call. And now Steve is at the front door banging on it, saying, "Hey, get yourself out here to Montana and enjoy these blue skies, the big sky, and the endless fields." It's going to be great. I put a link in the comment section where y'all can get some of that. We'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the day. But I do want to welcome you. And if this is your first time ever hanging out with us, we are so glad that you're here. Your time is valuable. Your time is precious. And the fact that you would spend a little bit of your time here with us, it sure does mean a lot. And we are grateful. If you're watching on the replay, or if you are watching sometime in the future, which would still be the replay, we're so glad that you're here. And you can still interact with us at any point in time, especially over on YouTube. Just leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. For all of those who are here now and for those who are watching the replay, we'd like for you to do three things. It's the only three things we ask. First, we would love to know that you're here. You'll see some of our friends already stepping up to the plate and sharing their name, where they're watching from, and what the weather is like. We can get together and just Steve and I talk back and forth any point in time. What makes this a really special time is the fact that you're here with us. So we want to hear from you, your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather's like. That sure would be awesome. The second thing we ask is that any and every mule or donkey question you've got, put it in the comment section. We want to get to it. We want to answer it for you because your time is valuable. And if you're going to go out there and you're going to spend time training, you're going to spend time working through a problem, you want to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. You don't want to go the wrong direction. It's not fun, and you can't get that time back, and you're that much
Yep.
further away from results. So if you ask the question, now we say there's no stupid questions, but I did hear, Steve, I'm going to tell you this. There are no stupid questions, but I did hear somebody put it this way, and he was saying stupid is not a bad thing. He said if you don't know something, then you're stupid in that area. And that's okay, because you just don't know. But ask
Yeah.
the question, you'll get the answer, and you won't be stupid anymore.
There you
And I
go.
thought that was just, that's not the way I would
Great.
word it, but I thought that was an incredible way to word it. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. Yeah. It's great.
Just
I
ask the
was
question.
I was looking for a picture of one of my. You got it. I think I sent it to you, but a picture of a guy who was training his year and a half old colt, and how he's not using the halter and just using the come on hitch. We can pull it up later and look at it, but
You know
it
what?
was
I do have it. I told you I got a new computer, and I think I have it on my old computer. While we're talking, I will find it and I'll get it dialed up here. So, first thing, name where you're watching from, what the weather's like. Second thing, any and every mule or donkey question that you got. Third thing, and I have to tell you, y'all have been so awesome at this. I've been going back, and Facebook and YouTube, they give us information on the statistics, okay? They tell us who's doing what, and y'all can see a lot of these statistics. Y'all are sharing the broadcast like crazy. Y'all are clicking that share button on YouTube and that share button on Facebook, and you are letting the folks know that they don't have to struggle with their mule or donkey, that there are some solutions out there that they just haven't heard of, but they've been dreaming of discovering. And so we would love for you to continue doing that. The way you do it is, if you're watching on YouTube, first, click the like button. That's the easiest thing you can do. You can do it right now. Click that like button. You can hammer it as hard as you want, or you can just do a light tap. Doesn't matter. It works the same way. The second thing that we ask, or the second way you can do it on YouTube, is you can click the share button. And when you click that share button, you can send it out via text message, or send it on an email, or share it on one of the social networks. That's the second way you can do it. And then the third, we've already asked you to comment. So those are the 3 ways you can do it on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, all you got to do is click that share button. And again, same thing. Smash it as hard as you want. Destroy your computer keyboard. Or you can just do a light touch or somewhere in the middle. That'll work just fine. And or you can tag a friend or family member in the comment section. So that's it. Let's get to talking, or let's get to saying hello to the people who are joining us. We've got Teresa from Kennedy Meadows, California, 92 degrees there. Hey, real quick, it took us about 45 minutes last week, but right here within the first 5 minutes, we've got Faye from Queensland, Australia, taking us international. Faye, it's so good to have you. We're grateful that you're here. Candy's watching again from Indiana, where it's the 80s, and she says it's a nice day. David O'Brien is here from East Texas, 104 and toasty. Yes, it is. Anything over 100 degrees, it gets pretty toasty. But does it make a difference when you're in the shade? Because when you're here in Arizona, the shade is like 20 degrees cooler, and it's wonderful. Julie is watching from Kentucky, where it's hot. Rusty's watching from East Texas, where it's hot and dry. Cowboy Ken is watching from Connecticut, where it's 80s, and everybody's wishing they are where Cowboy Ken was at. Jake is watching from Minnesota. Stacy's watching from Colorado, says 99 and grateful. The clouds just rolled in. Good to see you guys. Good to be seen, Stacy. Sunyu Miller from Redding, California, hot and dry. Good to have you here. Daryl's watching from Connecticut. It's 88 degrees here, and getting my yearling used to the hose. Used to the hose? What do you use the hose for with a yearling? Oh, okay. All right. Well, in that case, my dad was getting me used to the hose all those years ago. He'd just take us out and spray us down.
But that was across your back end, though.
Hey, now I've come a long way since there.
Oh, okay.
I learned
All right.
a lot. Let's see here. Rusty says, okay, this will be our first question of the day. I've never owned a mule or horse. What size animal would I need, being 6 foot and 220 pounds? This will be a trail mule for hunting. Thanks so much. I enjoy learning from you, Steve. What would you say there, Steve?
Well, it's more aesthetics than anything else. It's more, how you look sitting on it, because they can all handle you. My hunting partner, Andy, who passed away a couple years ago, used to ride a 14-2 pinto mule, and we called him Beaner, and he was quite the little mule. Okay. I got right here. It's my phone just went off because I got a fire. It was actually a car fire, but we were the second ones, and they just called us off and said we don't need to be there. So hey, I get to stay here.
Very good.
So anyway, let's go back. It's more aesthetics than anything else. So it just depends on what you can find out there. If it was my preference for you, your size, I would put you on a 15-2 mule. That's an 1,100 pound range, roughly. It'd look good for you. 15-2 is kind of a general average for a good saddle mule for folks about your size. I personally, I'll ride anything. I like them all, as long as here's the biggest thing. When you buy one, you're looking for one, you want a mule, you buy disposition. You don't buy color. You don't buy trained. You don't buy been there, done that. A mule at the disposition that gets along with you. That's important. Now, there are some mules out there, they love everybody and will do anything for anybody, and everybody thinks they're trained. No, they're just got a good disposition. They're trained only in a 10-foot circle. Y'all get this in your mind now. in a 10-foot circle. They side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, and back up nice and light. That doesn't mean you climb on top of them and crack a whip. That's not trained. That's good disposition. That don't mean you fall off of them, crawl between their legs. That's not trained. That's just a disposition. Okay, get that in your mind. So going back, don't go listening to folks that say, "Oh man, this thing's packed out 900 head of elk all over the United States and da 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 da." No, folks. Listen, if you can work with them disposition wise, then you'll get along with them good. But make sure that you see everything. You do a complete vet check, you do a complete farrier check, and you do, especially when you're doing a vet check, you want to vet check that scapula. That's really important, because you should see some of the sorry mules I've had sent to me just recently, looking at their pictures, where people have been riding the wrong saddles and they are a mess, Anyway, I can keep on going, but just look for a mule that's going to get along with you. That's number one. And do yourself a favor. With a mule, if you can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't buy it. Really, really important. I got so many of my clients that are buying them from clear across another state, and I understand. You saw them on the internet and you fell in love. That has worked for very few people that's called me over this past year. And anyway, there you go. I can keep on going, but I ain't going to. I'm gonna stop.
Very good. Hey, Steve. So I think I found the picture, but I also have a message that had come in from Chris. Said, I love the breast collar system. I've been fighting the saddle moving forward ever since I got my first mule, and this seems to have fixed it. And you had said, hey, we can use this on Wednesday. What did you want to talk about as it related to Chris there?
Well, Dave, everybody that comes to mules, I'm not saying everybody, I'm going to say 95% of the people that have come to mules, that come to start riding mules and seeing how great they are, have already been riding horses. Just about everybody starts out the email, Steve, I've been riding horses for 97 years, da 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 da. Okay, good. That means you've been around an equine. Now, that's number one. Next thing is, you have a tack room full of tack. You got bridles, you got cinches, you got all that stuff. And I understand you spend a lot of money for that stuff. But just like my friend here he is. And you've heard me tell you before, you can't use horse equipment on a mule. Mules walk different. They have different bone structures. They have a different stage of mind. When you ride a mule, folks, you're riding a horse, a donkey, and a mule. You are. So now here he is with this horse breast collar. And he keeps saying, my saddle keeps going forward. My saddle keeps going forward. Okay. Number one, the mule will, because of the way they're made, they're V-shaped in their shoulders, where horses are A-shaped in their shoulders. That saddle is going to go forward. A wither makes no difference at all on a mule. Makes no difference. You put a saddle up on a wither, on a mule, you put the saddle up too far. Now let's go to the next thing. Mules are very, very lateral in their walking. So as they walk, they've got a very nice walk, very easy to go. So that tells me that we're done with that accident that was out there. Let's go to the next thing. When the mules are already built like that, already V-shaped in their shoulders, that saddle wants to go forward. And then when you take and you over-tighten that front cinch, remember that front cinch? It's at an angle. The back cinch is straight up and down. So what's the saddle doing? It's being pulled forward by that front cinch. And then you take and put a horse breast collar on it at the same time. If you'll notice, none of my saddles have rings for a breast collar, for a horse breast collar. Then when people put them down on the D-ring, now the breast collar is way down here, and every time the shoulder hits it, because they're very loud on their walking, every time the shoulder hits it, it makes the saddle go forward. Dave, we got some information on the website, on the website on breast collars, and it talks about it. We could probably give them some information and go there and watch it, physically watch it. But basically, what he has learned now, that his horse breast collar on my saddle, my Steve Edwards saddle, notice I didn't say mule saddle, on my Steve Edwards saddle, it pulled the saddle forward. He's been fighting it for pretty much all his life, with these mules. And now he used my breast collar, it fixed the problem. Now, the good thing about it too, he was also able to take his breast collars that are built the same way almost, that follow the slope of the shoulder. That's what you want your breast collars to do. Follow the slope of the shoulder, not go out at a Y like you see saddles do, like this. Don't do that, okay? Because what happens every time the shoulder hits that mule's breast collar, it's going to bring the saddle forward every time. So follow the slope of the shoulder up. Now, your worst breast collar out there is your pulling collar. Pulling collars, that's where they're attached hard and fast to the pommel. You have two straps and it comes down. That one pulls the saddle not only down toward the animal, but it pulls it forward at the same time. So anyway, there you are. I'm glad he was happy, and he sent us that note. And folks, we love it when you send out notes and say, "Hey, we've been doing this all our lives, and now we found out that that mule is different than that horse."
Yeah, matter of fact, we get so many messages like that. Steve forwards them to me, and all of them, I put them on a place. I put them on the website. I'm going to put a link in the comment section, but it's just a ton of messages. There's probably I probably have about 40 there right now. I add some and then I pull some away over time. But we've got a place where on the website where it just says training results, and it's just the comments from people who have sent in. So I'll put that in the comment section so y'all can take a look at it. One of the things Steve says is, hey folks, look, I'm just going to put it in front of you. I'm going to let y'all take the information, try it for yourself, and if it works for you, it works for you. If you want to do something else, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you what I've learned and what I've discovered from working directly with the mule and the donkey, and let that be it. So hopping back over into the comment section here, let's see here. We've got Barbara is watching from Missouri, hot but not as humid, driving home from work. We've got Judy watching, 73 degrees and sunny after getting some rain earlier today in Ubley, Michigan. Good to hear that. Let's see here. Barbara says, using the come along hitch, what is the best way to get my Molly to back up?
Okay. Now, remember, mules care more about their nose than they do their mouth. So all of your training that is done from the ground is going to build the foundation to the saddle because you're using the nose. So we have our come along rope on, and we take the rope, and at first we go right, left, 1, 2. Okay. And just about the same movement as you see me go from shoulder to shoulder. That's all. 1, 2. That doesn't work. Now notice, normally I never tell you to hold a lead rope like this. But in the very beginning, when you do this first step, you're going to hold it like this. Now, when you're going to go to the next step, you just ask 1, 2. Now you're going to tail, and now you're going to change on the rope, and you're going to hold it like this. And then you bump it down, 1, 2, 3, and no result. Then you go bump, 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 bump. You're asking, telling, demanding. Now understand, folks, that yes, you're going to be tired. It's pretty tiresome. And yes, if you don't wear gloves, you are going to get some serious rope burns. Always, always, always wear gloves. But remember, with all this stuff, folks, it's your timing. When you see me do it on the internet and you see it on YouTube and all that stuff, it's because it's my timing that responds. But it's the same thing. I want you to think about ask, tell, demand. Now, your part was right, left, 1, 2, Then you switch your hand and get the rope. You bump down. 1, 2, 3. And then you go bump, 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 bump. Now use about 4 foot as leverage rope. 4 foot of leverage rope. Don't get up there close. You're not going to do any good. Get back where you can have some leverage. I said 4 foot. If it ends up being 3 foot for you, good. But use the rope for leverage. No closer than 3 foot, and bump, bump, bump. Now, that's your part. Now, this is the mule's part. At first, he's going to throw his head going, oh, no. Yeah, don't worry about it. Ain't no big deal. They'll get over it, okay? They will. They'll throw their head, but pretty soon you'll get to the point that you barely shake the rope, and they will respond. Now, what do you do with your voice? Shh. Shh. Don't say anything. Come on, Fluffy, back up, back. No. Don't say nothing. They don't need all that pressure. You're already dinking around with their nose. Just be quiet and watch them. Now, here's going to be the response. At first, they're going to throw their head. Then they'll drop their head and tip their nose, and they'll back up. Now, you're going to do 3 today. A couple days later, maybe a week later, you're going to do those 3. And then if that's good, you're going to do 3 more, and you're going to call it 6. Then, a couple days later, maybe a week later, you're going to do those 6 plus 3 more. Now you're doing 9. And you're building a foundation. What you don't want to do is do a whole bunch in one day, or do a whole bunch in 2 or 3 days. You do not have to train every day, folks. The mule will get to where it don't like it. You'll get to where you're getting too sore, yada, 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 different things. But the main thing is this: 3, 6, 9, 12. Ask, tell, demand. And also think about this. It's comfortable, uncomfortable. So if they get to where you barely swing that rope, you'll get to where you barely touch that rope, and they will back up. Okay. Now, this will apply to you being in the saddle. Okay. You're going to be using the same thing, but then you're going to be using your direct reining with the Mule Riders Martingale. But, by the way, you can use the same training when you're leading a colt or a pack mule.
Hey, there we go. Click the wrong button. All right, very good. Thank you so much for that.
You change computers more than I change socks.
Okay, so I switched computers, not just because of this show, but this show was one of them. Every time I tried to do a show, the fans kicked on, it slowed down. But a lot of the programs that I use were starting to get slow too, so time to upgrade. So the next question I got, this one came from Adrian. She says, hello. I ride a couple times a week or more, and my mule is just 3. He has been training for 2 months and doing great. I have taken him to the mountains and ridden him in some rough country. He does great. The issue I am having is sometimes he thinks he is done. He will just ignore the bit and walk right through it. By that, I mean he puts his head straight and just walks where he wants to go no matter how hard I pull. He does not run away. He is not mean about it, but I do feel like I have no control. He does not do it all the time and has never done it as a spook, but I feel I need more control. I have him in a smooth snaffle right now. I was hoping you can help me with suggestions. That would be great. This is a great question, Steve. This is a really great question. What would you say to Adrian?
Adrian, we run into this a lot because I know everybody wants to be nice to their mule, and everybody wants to try to do the right things by their mule. But Adrian and everybody else that's doing this, you take that smooth snaffle bit and you see how far you can throw it, because what's going to happen, this mule is testing the bit. Yeah, he doesn't do it all the time, but he'll test it one day this way. He'll test it this way and do that way. Then one day he'll test it and try to take a little bit more from you. And what do? You do lateral flexions. You bend their heads around right and left, or you take them around in circles, and you're thinking you're going to fix the problem. Nope. all you're doing is adding to the problem. Folks, I've had more people bring me mules with split tongues. Hear that? Tongue that's split on both sides of the mouth, both sides of the tongue, because of a snaffle bit. Well, why, Steve? It's smooth. It shouldn't be. Yeah, it's a problem. Here's this. Here's the problem. People, especially horsemen, I see it all the time. They tend to overpull on their horses, and they try to bend them around doing lateral flexions. All they're doing to a mule is strengthening all 5 major neck muscles. Exactly what they're doing. You don't do lateral flexions. What you do is use a surcingle and go from the halter, from the come along rope to the halter, then to the bit. Now, I use a Mule Rider's Martingale. It's a complete bridle headstall bit. Then the bit is one that was given to me by an old cowboy years ago, and I went to a company and had it made, and now I'm using the same bit, same size and all, on this mule, on these mules. All right, same size. It's not like a horse, folks, where you want a snaffle bit to be on both sides of the corners of the mouth. No, no, no. No, no, no. I like it to be bigger so that it's like.
Ooh, I think we may have just lost Steve there for a second. While we get Steve back on here, you want minimum 6 months foundation work. That's what you want right off the bat, because you want the animal to respect the halter. You want the animal to see you as the herd leader, and you want to gain control on the ground before you ever get in the saddle, because the last thing you want to do is lose control in the saddle. So minimum 6-month foundation work, and that starts with the come along rope, and that is going to help you work on your timing, and that is going to set the foundation for you. Now, the second thing is Steve was talking about the Mule Rider's Martingale, and the Mule Rider's Martingale, that is the training bit. That's a training bit, and that's where you do some surcingle work, and you get the mule used to the bit. You get the mule to get his head with the surcingle. You just use some rope and twine, and you tie that up to whether it's a surcingle. You can use your saddle. We don't like using the saddle because sometimes the mule might rub up against the side of the stalls and you can get the saddle damaged, but you can use the saddle if you want. But ideally, you've got a surcingle and you've got the Mule Rider's Martingale. And if you take a look at it, you'll see that there's a place where you put a little piece of baling twine on one side, on the other. And the video that comes with the Mule Rider's Martingale tells you exactly how much baling twine you want to use. And then that baling twine, it keeps the animal's nose on the vertical. He's going to want to keep his head up. He's going to want to stiffen his neck. But he's going to learn that when he does that, his nose is going to be sore. And so over time, we've got plenty of videos online. What you're going to see is that the Mule Rider's Martingale, when we're doing training with it, you'll see the animal starts walking around. He's got his head up and he's bracing. He's bracing into the pain, because the mules, they brace into pain. They don't show it. They embrace it. And so what she was talking about, Adrian, saying that the mule is, he'll stiffen his neck and he'll just go no matter what. Well, that's what they do. So that's pretty much how a mule is supposed to act. That's how they do it on just right out the gate. It's in their nature. And so what you want to do is you use that Mule Rider's Martingale to teach them, to soften them, and they lower their neck and they begin to respect the bit. And they begin to listen and let the bit work for them. And so once you go through the Mule Rider's Martingale, the final piece that you want to get to is the trail riding bit. Now, we've had the trail riding bit. It's been out of stock for a while. We have some in stock right now. If you've been waiting for it, go get it right now. But we've got the trail riding bit, and that trail riding bit is what it's. I believe Steve says it's a finished bit. And so that finished bit is when you have control and you can ride 80% off your legs, 10% or 20%, I think it's with your hands. I think that's what it is. We'll try and get Steve back here to get him to confirm for us. But 80%, 20%. And you want to ride with one hand because you've got a lot of control with that bit. And so using the Mule Riders Martingale, you start off, and then using the trail riding bit, that's your finished bit. And then down the road, you can get into some more elaborate bits if you want to. You've got to have real refined communication, and a lot of folks just don't need it. But you can use those down the road, and that's where you have a hackamore or a bozales, things like that. So that's the other option that you can go to. So now that's where my knowledge runs out. So folks think that I actually know all this stuff. I don't know this stuff. I actually know everything that Steve has been saying. And yeah, who was that just said that there in the comment section? David O'Brien. Good job, Dave. You've been paying attention. I have been paying attention. We're going on like 6 years or something like that. But here's the deal. Once you get out there, you can have all of the planning in the world. You can have everything up front that you're supposed to do. But when you get out there, it's going to be different, and you're going to run into problems, and it's not going to be the exact way that it looks in the video, and it's not going to be the exact way that we've talked about it here. And so that's where it's really important for you to reach out to Steve to get the direct input and the direct advice that you need to make the corrections. Because I would say I've been working with Steve long enough. 95% of the time, the issues that we have, it's just a small, slight correction that needs to be made, and then the products and the tack and the saddle and whatever it is you're using, you begin allowing it to work instead of trying to force it to work, instead of trying to make it work. You allow it to do its job because you know how to use it. So there you go. Mule Riders Martingale, Adrian. I hope that helps. I'm sorry for the breakup here. With the internet connection. That's what happens when you're doing things live. But hopefully that answers it. Now I'm going to see if I can get Steve back here. I'm going to send him another message. Hey, Steve, can you get to that link? Let's see if he can get back there. Okay, here we go. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we are.
Okay, there we go. So this
Your mule went off on you, huh?
I don't know what happened. So I'm at the Airbnb, and it's got like the fastest internet that I've ever had. But all of a sudden, it just went out. And I've got one of my team members downstairs, and I asked him. I was like, "Is it down for you?" He's like, "Yeah." The only thing that changed is there was someone coming out here cleaning the yards out here, and I'm thinking maybe they cut a wire or something. Well, I don't think they cut a wire. I think it was just a temporary outage by Cox because it went out twice. But right now, I hooked it up to my cell phone. We're using my cell phone connection, so we're good to go. So anyways, I was telling folks all about the Mule Riders Martingale, saying first you want to start with a 6 months of foundation work. You don't have any business getting in the saddle if you cannot control the animal from the ground. So minimum 6 months foundation. Second, do your Cursingle work with the Mule Riders Martingale. Teach the animal to respect the bit, to listen to the bit, to soften up their nose, to get their nose on the vertical. And then down the road, when you have control, and I think it's 80% on your legs and 20% with your hands, is that what it is? Then you can move to the trail riding bit.
Mm-hmm.
I let the people know, Steve.
Yeah. That's good.
Very
Look
good.
At you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Okay. Yes, I got my audio working. Okay, let's see. Steve's too heavy for the internet. When you put him back on, the internet falls down. Linda the mule servant and Theo the sweet one-eyed mule coming from rural central Ohio. So let me hop back over here. Because the internet crashed, I lost my comments. And so I'm going to hop back over to YouTube here and see what other comments have come in. YouTube and Facebook, we've got folks dialing in. Steve, while I'm bringing this up, I've got the picture here. Is this the picture that you were talking about?
That's one of them. That's an older mule, but then there's also a colt. But notice how he's using the come-along rope underneath the Mule Riders Martingale. And he's been leading the mule around and teaching it to stop and go and back up. All these things before he gets in the saddle. And yeah, he's got a couple things misadjusted, but that's okay. The main thing he's doing is on the ground, he's getting the mule used to going. And that Mule Riders Martingale is awesome, folks. I told him, he had a couple things misadjusted, but he said, okay, that's why it's doing this. That's why it's doing that. Yep, sure is. So, folks, send me pictures. I'd be happy to look at them, tell you that, make you some suggestions as to what you might do to do it better. Now, I don't always suggest that you put the come along hitch on, and then over top of that, the Mule Rider's Martingale, and with the halter as well. He just wanted to put everything on there and see how the mule was going to do, which is okay. Okay. But if you want your really refined training, the Mule Rider's Martingale only by itself, but as they progress, like this little mule is doing, as he's progressing, the mule is getting to where he's getting better and better, and he has to use less and less, which is cool.
Awesome. Very good. So I just looked.
So the one I'm looking for has a Cursingle. The picture I'm looking for is a young mule, year and a half old. He has a Cursingle with a pad underneath the Cursingle, and he's got the come along rope on.
All right, I'm looking right here. I have a video. I do have a video that I got pulled up here. I cannot find that one. If you've got it on your, I went through my email and I went through my text, and I don't see it. But if you've got it handy, send it over, Steve, and I'll get it up here. I can get it up here pretty quickly on the screen. While you're looking for that, so folks, I went back to try to find the comments. I can't find the comments. So if you asked a question and I haven't gotten to it yet, go ahead and put it in the comment section now. That way I can get to it, because for some reason YouTube doesn't want to show me questions that came in during the live stream. So go ahead, put your questions in the comment section, and I'll be sure to get to them. We've got David says, Dave's all over it today. Yeah, so while we were trying to get you back in here, Steve, I was up for a second, and I was going through explaining all of the things that I've heard you talking about all these years. And I told folks, though, I said, look, I've got the understanding, but I don't have the knowledge, but I don't have the understanding. So when you go out there and you try to get results, it's not going to work exactly the way it does in the video. And it's not going to go exactly the way it does when you're talking about it. And it's not going to be a perfect experience. And what I have noticed is that over time, it really comes down to making minor adjustments with the tack, or making minor adjustments with what you're communicating to the animal. It's not that it's not working. It's that you haven't done it correct yet to allow the Cursingle to work for you, to allow the Mule Rider's Martingale to work for you. Is that pretty much correct?
Yeah, pretty much correct. It's our timing all the way through. Our timing, to feel the animal. The idea of the come along rope is to get you to feel the animal through that rope. You get to where you can barely touch it, like we were asking about backing up earlier. You get to where you barely have to touch it, and the mule knows exactly what you want. But you have to first use the ask, tell, demand. I can't seem to find that picture, Dave.
Was it from David O'Brien?
Yes.
Okay. I think I can find it. Let's see here. While I'm doing that, what other things have you been talking with folks about recently, Steve?
Well, I mainly been focusing, Dave, on folks getting to use the come along rope. Right after we have these sales and these people are buying these mules at the different sales that are out there, I started getting barraged with phone calls. And, they said the mule did this and the mule did that there at that sale. And people talked about how well it did on this or how well it did that. Well, that's all well and good. You can talk and you can do all these things there. But if you don't see the basics, the asking, telling, demanding, the turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, side passing, those simple things show folks, that shows foundation training. Makes no difference if they've been there, done that mule. Those mules don't exist, folks. Okay. Don't think that because you see a 10-year-old girl on that mule and she's really riding pretty decent, I can look at her and say, no, she's not holding her hands correct. Her legs aren't correct. And I can shout it out. And what I want you to do, folks, I'm trying to get you all to look look for the spot. Look for the small things that create the big things. Okay, look for that spot. Where are their hands? Are their hands higher than the horn? Here's the horn. Are their hands higher than the horn? Okay. Are they moving their hands way off to the right or to the left? Are they having to really over pull to get the animal to respond? All these things are really important. And when you're going to buy a mule, especially when you're looking at them on the internet, you want to see them pick up their feet. You want to see them catch them. You want to see them using the comb and the curry comb and the brush. You want to see all that. Okay, you do. You want to see and watch for the small things. What is the mule doing every time they pick up the foot? What's the small things you're looking for when you brush? Is the head, okay, what's the small thing look like? Their head is down, relaxed, okay? Ears are nice and quiet. Eye is big and brown. Small things like that tell you that the mule is happy with what's going on.
Awesome. All right, I found the picture right here. Is that it?
There we are. There you are, okay? Now again, Britchen isn't really adjusted right. We're not looking for that. The saddle pad and this sort of thing, we're not looking at that. It's all things just hanging on the mule, which is good. But look at the come along rope. We don't have him tied, and you don't want to tie your babies anyway, okay? But look at that come along rope. The come along rope is laying on the ground, and he's got this baby so well versed that as long as you don't pick up the come along rope, that mule will not move. Do you see that, folks? This is a 1.5 year old colt that Mr. O'Brien's doing. He's doing this himself. I can't tell you, and you've heard me talk about Dave. People, they go and they take them to trainers thinking they're going to be trained. Folks, the idea of training is to build a foundation between the rider and the mule. You can do it. You can do it. You don't need to go and take your animal to a guy or a gal that has got all these other animals to train, and they've got to get them all to the point where this is what you look for. You all look for its riding. How's he riding? I rode him. Everybody says I rode him. All right. Did you pick up his feet? No. And that's why I'm calling you, because I watched him being rode, and I rode him maybe, but I didn't pick up his feet. Folks, you got to do all that stuff. Look for the small things, okay? Now, right there, that Mr. O'Brien, he did good. Look at that mule.
He says that was the second time with a Cursingle, first time with the Britchen.
There you are.
Yeah.
There you are. See, he's doing his homework. He's got a 1.5 year old colt now that when he becomes 3 years old and he's riding him, this colt's going to have a good foundation. Now, you could take a 22-year-old colt and do the same thing and get their head together. You can get their mind back. Okay, folks, it's not that difficult. It's not. Okay. And if you'll just take your time, nobody bought these mules to be upset. But unfortunately, people get upset and they want to quit on them. So that's how I got so many mules. So many people just quit the mule. Oh, the mule did this or the mule did that. No, folks. No, don't do that. Allow that mule, okay, to make a mistake, and when he does, simple corrections. And you've already heard me say, send me pictures. I get pictures every day of people with harness, with the saddles, fits, and all this stuff. I want to help you, and it doesn't have to be my stuff. Okay, I'll be willing to help you on somebody else's stuff as well.
Bill Rose says, do you have any input on kissing spine issues? So what is kissing spine issue, and do you have any input on that?
Kissing fine?
Spine.
Like kissing spine.
Yeah. Bill, you want to clarify for us what you mean on the kissing spine? That'd be...
Never heard that term. Now, on the back of the mule, going toward the hip, there are 3 vertebrae that stick up, and that's why the back of my saddle is open, so that it doesn't rub all those. That's why my saddle pads are curved up in the back, so it doesn't rub on those. But Bill, I don't think I've ever heard of something called kissing spine. That's a new one for me. So if we can get some more information, I'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah, we'll see if he puts it in there. Linda says, so glad to hear Adrian's question on the bits. Mr. Theo Sassmaster is back to groundwork in the pen because of exactly that behavior. My husband was closing a gate, and Theo decided husband was invisible and tried to walk right through him. Husband said, poor mule. He couldn't see me with that blind eye. I told him, he knows exactly where you are. He's going back to the small pen. So she took care of him there. She's got a relationship there with that Theo. Very, very fun.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
Linda, you gonna come out to Montana? You gonna come out to Montana with us? That would be pretty awesome to have you come out there. It's a little bit of a drive from Ohio, but I think it'd be worth it. Let's see here. Awesome. So I feel bad because it dropped, and so a lot of our friends who had great questions, I lost those questions because YouTube doesn't show them back to me. But if anybody else has any final questions, I'd love for y'all to add those. While you're doing that, Steve, why don't you tell folks what we can expect come this September in Montana?
Okay, I got you, Dave. In Montana, it's a ranch that a very good friend of mine that was in Minnesota. He moved from Minnesota to Montana, and he had lived there before and knew it, but just that when he was farming with his dad, and his dad passed away, and then the city started moving in, and he had enough of the city. You all know how that goes, all right? So anyway, he's got a new place that he's building, putting together some stuff. He wants to have it for in the future. It can kind of like be a Air Mule and Mule. You've heard of Airbnb, Mule and Mule. So you can come out and you can. It's the whole concept here, folks. This is rustic. Okay, there's no RV spots to plug into. You can use your generator. Even the cabin that is there for rent doesn't have electricity to it. They use coal oil lights, even, and they use propane for their cooking. They have a cook tent, and when you go to the bathroom, it's an outdoor John. Yeah, they got one on the inside too for the cabin. But anyway, he's got showers there, restroom facilities, and then you just kind of park here and there. And he's got set up, and he's got some corrals set up so that you can set all the mules up in the corrals. He's even going to have it set up so if you want to highline your mules, you can highlight them as well. So lots of things. Now we're going to be doing a couple different clinics. Go to my website and look at what we'll do in the morning and what we'll do at night. Go there and read about it. Now, what you are going to find is there's not going to be an address. No, it's in Superior, Montana, yes. But the only way you can come to this clinic is pre-registration. Whether you're a spectator or whether you are a participant, you can't just show up and decide, I'm going to come to the clinic. Folks, we need a head count, okay? And that's really, really important, not only for us to know things, but for our insurance company as well. Because this insurance, I'm sorry to tell you, folks, it's pretty expensive. So we need a head count. Now, again, this is rustic. You bring your own food. You bring your own hay. You take care of yourself. Can a bunch of you get together? A bunch of us get together and eat all in one spot? Yeah. We can do a little smorgasbord type thing. We can do that. I don't say potluck because I'll tell you sometime about luck. But anyway, we do a pot blessing. We can do something like that. But it's basically you're about 20 miles away from the town of Superior. And if you're going to have a hotel, you can drive to the hotel. If you got a horse trailer or if you got a tent, we can fix you up all that. But we're going to have 2 days on Labor Day weekend of being with mules. And I'm going to have, that'll be Saturday and a Sunday. There'll be a program going on Saturday and a program going on Sunday, morning and night. And they'll be different. And then Monday is going to be something kind of different. Monday's going to be kind of an open forum. I'm going to be there. We can ask questions. I'm going to be there doing different things, but I'm going to be there. Just hey, ask questions and let me help you out. So it's going to be kind of a unique clinic.
That'll be a lot of fun. Let's see here. I put links in the comment section. Y'all can check that out there. Get the information there. And let's see. Bill Rose says, I don't have any information on it now to mention. Just heard this term. Okay, for the kissing spine. Just heard this term from a mule lady in Canada yesterday. We'll dig deeper. Thanks. Okay, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. So y'all can go to the link in the comment section. If you got any questions, y'all reach out and let us know. Linda says, is it near Billings? It's about a 6-hour drive from Billings in Superior. So there you go, Linda. Jacqueline says, just got your saddle, pad, Britchen, and trail rider bit for the bridle. Kind of discouraged to hear that now need to train with Cursingle and Martingale for 6 months before even trying to ride her. Any people out there had better luck when they buy a supposedly well-trained mule? That's okay. So Jacqueline, like that, don't be that is discouraging. Here's the thing. That's not unique to you. One of the things that I'm just going to be frank, listening to what Adrian was saying, she said, I've had her for about 2 months and I started riding her, but I'm afraid I will lose control. And that's the reason why we go through the things the way that we do. It's not because we've come up with some arbitrary way, some arbitrary process, but it's because the last thing you want to do is get into the saddle with a quote unquote well-trained mule and find out that you can't have control when you need it. And so this is all preventative work, and there's never a safe mule, and there's never a safe ride, and there's never a trained mule, but there is foundation. And that's what we're working to do here, is build that foundation. So when the moment comes that the mule decides he wants to blow up, you know what to do to communicate, and the mule has a foundation to respond. Pretty much correct, Steve?
Yeah, that's great. It's great. It's like Mr. O'Brien there. Look at his 1.5-year-old colt, you know. And really, folks, 6 months will go by so fast it'll blow you away. You're only talking 4 to 6 hours a week. And what this thing does as well is it builds your confidence. Okay, build your confidence. I see all these videos on these auction sites and stuff that people going to have coming up, and just look at them, folks. They're horses under mule costume. That's all they are. Okay, they're using horse techniques. They don't know no better, I wouldn't think. But just look at where the saddles are. Saddles are on top of the scapula. Look at them. There's no breeching on them. Okay, this is not a horse. This is a mule. A mule. And because of the way a mule is made, you have to put a breeching on. You have to have the rear cinch tight. So when you're going to these auction sites, or you're going online and you're looking at these different animals, you know, a lot of these folks don't have the knowledge. They don't know. Okay. So now here's what you got to think about, and be honest with you, is that, you know, they're only giving you their knowledge of what they know is going on with the mule. There could be some underlying problems there that you're not aware of, that they're not aware of, and they show up when you go to get in the saddle, or they show up when you go to load them in a trailer, or they show up when you start to pick up a foot. All that stuff, folks. That's why you get yourself with a bunch of information. Arm yourself with information. Arm yourself. Don't just watch me. Watch other people out there and decide, okay, I got this idea. I see this work. I see this don't work. And arm yourself with ammunition. Then when you go to buy a mule, boom, boom, boom. Or when you bought the mule and now you got to pay the price of fixing the mule, boom, boom, boom. So folks, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I want you to be safe. I've got lots of ideas here of things that I've done over the years that work, that are consistent. And like I told you before, if they don't work, don't use them, okay? But you're going to find that my 50-some years there is going to help you. And the other thing, just ask anybody. I'll help you. You call me, hey, Steve, I'm having a hard time sitting in the saddle and my butt hurts, okay? Well, I'm going to help you with that. Hey, Steve, da-da-da, whatever it may be, let me help you out. Okay, Dave, I guess we're done, huh? We're end
Yeah,
of our
that's pretty
show.
much it. So, hey, everyone. Oh, Linda said this. Jacqueline, please don't be discouraged. Steve's method of ground training is so rewarding. You will see results right away, maybe just incremental, but you'll see it. And it will give you so much confidence in your relationship with your mule. That's what we want. That's what we want for you, Jacqueline. That's what we want for everyone. Linda, thank you so much. May use that testimonial on the training results page. We really love hearing that. Folks, sorry for the interruptions today. Networking, that's how it goes. So I apologize for the interruptions. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Thanks so much for sticking it out with us. Can't wait to see y'all next week. Steve, anything else you want to say before we're done here?
No, hey, we're good, man. We're good. Matter of fact, I'm watching a road runner up here right now, and he's sneaking up on a lizard.
Who needs Netflix when you've got that?
That's right. Like the other night, we was watching Javelina out here, and they were bumping each other and fussing around, and all of a sudden, they were boy and girls, and they were doing boy and girl things. So hey, we get to watch all
Filling the
kinds of stuff
earth.
out here.
Filling the earth. Awesome. Thanks everyone so much for hanging out with us. Take care. We'll see y'all next week. God bless. Can't
I
wait
like my
to
shirt, huh?
can't wait to see you again. If you vote, oh my goodness, there you go. Gas money right there. If you voted for Biden, you owe me gas money. Send it on over. Queen Valley Mule Ranch. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.